Hi. Okay, I'm gonna shut this down. And the air conditioning on. I'm gonna turn it off. Oh fuck! It's just that it's loud. And the window's open. Look, there's a lot of stuff I'd like to say about this car. In my personal opinion, the things that I've discovered about it. Number one, I've discovered I don't make very good YouTube videos. A lot of times it seems like I watch it and I'm like, oh man, I'm being mean. It's like I know originally I was trying to approach like a sarcasm, like a sarcastic asshole type humor, but it just really doesn't work. So on a lighter note, as far as this car goes, it's great. It really is. To be honest, I have no idea what the motor can do, or if it's supposed to do what it does. I drive the car, and in my opinion, it's faster. It's the fastest car I've ever owned personally. I rode in it wasn't mine. A friend at the time had a 90, the RT10, like 93, but it was really a 92, and they didn't deliver it until 93. But to me, it was a 93. To him, it was a 92 that wasn't delivered until 93 or whatever. He was supposed to get two. He was supposed to get an RT10 and then a GTS. Apparently, the GTSs weren't done yet. And I saw the post of the GTS, and that's the one I wanted. I got it. I wanted the blue and white one. I don't know why, but because at the time there was the red one and then there was the blue one, and I don't really like red cars. This car was painted black. I don't know if the guy I got it from said that the previous owner, wanted a black one, and that had appealed to him, and that's why he got it. I don't know. I mean, maybe how like when you buy a car and you want to sell it, you paint it black, and any idiot will buy it. It's kind of true, except when you know what you're buying and you really don't care if it's been painted, and you know that if the engine is blown, I will rebuild it, and if the tranny is shot, you will rebuild it. So it's kind of how I got into this car, expecting to rebuild everything on it. Really hasn't been the case. It's faster than the other Viper that I rode in, and that's all I really have to judge on it. Maybe it's only making 350 horsepower, maybe it's making 450. The factory minimum output on the motor, factory minimum horsepower rating or whatever, it is like 35 or 3,800 RPMs. The cams are hand to ground by like eyeball or at least these ones were. That's what I heard. I mean, honestly, I heard a lot of stuff may or may not be true, so it's like hearsay. Anyway, the minimum factory horsepower rating at 35 or 3,800 RPMs was 450 horsepower, which means that the car has to have more than 450 horsepower, minimum of 450 horsepower at 3,500 RPMs, or it doesn't meet the factory standard. And that doesn't mean that they can't exceed that. And as long as it's over 450 at that, then they're fine. The thing about this car, at 3,500 RPMs, my phone just did something stupid. I don't know what the hell's going on here. Okay, 3,500 RPMs, it makes, 450 horsepower. But, the motor goes a little faster than that, and I guarantee you, it produces more horsepower the higher you get to redline. So if it's minimum rated at 450, I'm assuming the other rest of the tachometer is excess of 450 horsepower. Maybe not. Maybe at redline I'm at 450. I don't know. Like I said before, I don't own a fucking dyno. I really don't care. The only thing I want is the motor to run right. Sometimes I think the intake valves are powered by suction, as opposed to the lobe on the cam, like it's got a weak lobe or a weak hydraulic lifter that squishes instead of pushing the thing up, and you got to hit it really hard to get it to open the valve, or the lobe is so weak that it only opens it up at the excessive amounts of the RPMs, and maybe it got worn off and rounded because of the way I drive it. I don't really drive it like a race car. Pretty much I cruise it, but race car driving, I save for freeway on-ramps. If I can go as fast as I can, I'll do it. but typically you're not allowed to do that. And I know that certain times the engine's running different. For instance, it makes a vibration, little slight vibration, and it seems like it has less power. The vibration goes away, and then it has more power. Is that like the lobe like rubbing, and what the hell is causing the vibration? I don't know. But when it's gone, and if you just roll into it, it seems to not do it. I don't know. I mean, literally, I've heard so many stories. Okay, the guy that had the first RT10 that I knew, he took it in the dealership. The guys at the dealership, the mechanic was they were close friends because he bought more than one car there, and he had a Viper. He brought it in and said, "Hey man, the head mechanic, can you like make this a little bit souped up? Is there anything you can do to it? I mean, it's great, but can we make it a little faster, more power?" They looked at it. The mechanic looked at it, called him up and said, "Dude, your engine is it's not running right. It's not running on all the cylinders." Okay. He went down there to check it out, and when he got there, the mechanic had told him it wasn't running on all cylinders. Told him, "Hey man, I was wrong. I put it on a machine that wasn't designed to measure a 10-cylinder engine, and your engine's fine. It's running great." Well, after that, apparently they'd walked further and had a meeting, outside. Okay, recording. It keeps flashing something on my phone. I don't know. Anyway, basically they got to like where they weren't at the dealership anymore, and he said, "Hey, look, dude, what I told you before, I've never been wrong. When I found out about your engine, I called Dodge, and then they got back to me with a non-disclosure agreement about don't fucking say shit." And so basically he said that like I wasn't wrong before, but right now I have to tell you your engine's running exactly to factory specifications, and it's great. And the rumors came out where they turn on some of the valves, they turn them off. I don't know. I guess you can adjust them so they work and they don't work. But he literally, like, the guy was a mechanic, and he was smart enough to be able to put or diagnose which cylinders were running. I mean, the point is, it's an 8-liter motor, and it makes like 55 to 50, yeah, about 55 horsepower per liter, which basically means that it's detuned. The average horsepower that like even an SRT will make, just street stock smoggable car that you can buy at the factory makes 75 per liter, and this car makes 56. So it's not very much, but it's got 8 liters. So, but apparently you could take this stuff on the inside of the motor and put good stuff in there. Costs a lot more, and you have to do it right. And you can add smoggable, street legal catalytic converters. Looks absolutely identical. The shit on the inside of the motor is different, like it's better, or like the cams are different. Basically, the things that control your valves run differently. Either they open up longer or they open up wider or whatever, but it allows more airflow in the engine. And you can get like 75 horsepower. No, 80, like 82 horsepower per liter, 650 with just money, but it's really expensive. I can't afford it, and I don't need it. This car, like, I don't know what I would do with more horsepower. The problem is sometimes it's got like that vibration, and I know there's more, and then when it smooths out, it's got all the power I need. So I've heard so much stuff about this car, whether it's running the whole motor or whether it's running half the motor at a time. I don't know, but it's interesting though that, let's say it was running on less than full, full bore, and it still can do this. Wow. Yeah, it's designed exceptionally well. I just think there's more power in the car, and I think it's detuned, and they run like almost 300,000 miles stock. It's got, this engine with the forged piston, supposedly it can make like 1,300 horsepower or something without having to rebuild it, because like stock, it's made to be supercharged and go fast. That's really cool. I'd like to do that, but I'll tell you a story. God, 10 minutes. You guys don't want to hear this shit.